What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over how to max out efficiently on bench press. Perform a maximum effort lift on bench press. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not currently subscribed. And if you like the content, make sure you hit the like button and comment if you must. So, performing a maximum effort lift. Usually you're doing this after you finished a program, whether it be 4 to 8 weeks. Me personally, I like to perform a maximum effort lift every 4 weeks to see where I'm at in my program, to see if I need to change anything up. So today I'll be showing you what I do to prepare my body for a maximum effort lift. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to warm up efficiently. And when I say efficiently, that means not wasting any time on any unnecessary movements, but also resting well in between each sets. So the first thing I like to do is warm up my rotator cuffs with some banded overhead pushes, and then also work on external rotation with the cables or bands. And then also work on scapular retraction, banded scapular retraction. And I do that because I have an issue with actually being able to retract my scapula like I need to. And I've also had 2 rotator cuff injuries, both in my right shoulder and my left shoulder. So those have caused instabilities in the last couple of years. So I like to warm those up first and make sure they're good to go. Next thing I like to do is warm up my triceps. I'll do either straight bar or V-bar tricep extensions with a very light weight, just to prime my triceps. And like I said, the shoulders, your anterior delts, a little bit of your lateral delts, and your triceps are synergists in the bench press movement. So I like to warm them up first. I really don't do anything as far as a warm-up on chest besides the bench press, because I really don't have any issues with my chest performing like it should. So I head over to the bench press and I start with just the bar. Just the bar. And the reason I start with just the bar is to make sure that my triceps are good to go, my shoulders are good to go, my upper back's good to go, and also there's nothing wrong with my chest. I mentioned earlier with warm-ups, you could also do a lat pull down. I see a lot of guys doing lat pull downs, and that's really to get those lats engaged, especially when you retract your shoulders back and actually pull those down and get the lats engaged. See a couple guys doing lat pull downs. I don't do them because I don't really have any issues with my lats. They engage just fine. It's the scapular part that I have issues with. So start with just the bar, and your progression should be well, you already know what your maximum effort lift was before. So your increments should be anywhere from 15 to 20% of what your last maximum effort lift was. And for me, my last maximum effort lift was 455. So I'm doing anywhere from 15 to 20% increases. So start off with just the bar. I move up to 135, and these reps with these low weight for me. The rep ranges are anywhere from 8 to 10. 8 to 10. Like I said, you don't want to waste too much energy in performing too many reps, because you're not there to. You want to be able to have the energy you need to perform a maximum effort lift, which will be, if you warm up efficiently, somewhere about 20 to 30 minutes in to from the time you start warming up to the time you start performing the maximum effort lift. So start with the bar, which is just 45 pounds. work up to 135. Like I said, those sets are 8 to 10. And then from there, I'm moving up to 225. 225's not too heavy for me. That's around 50% of what I can usually do. So bar, 45 pounds, 135, 225, around 8 reps. 8 reps. Once you get to that 50% threshold, you're going to reduce the amount of reps that you're doing. You're going to reduce the amount of reps that you're doing. And your rest periods are going to be longer. So from the point from where I started with just the bar up to 225, my rest periods was only around a minute to 2 minutes. And that's because I know that 50%, with 225 being around 50% of what my 1 rep maximum is, it doesn't put a strain on my energy consumption or muscle fatigue. It doesn't really cause me muscle fatigue. But beyond that point, getting up there to the 65%, 80%, 95%, I'm going to take longer rest periods. And the reason for that is to allow my muscles to rest and allow my energy stores to build back up. So something that you may not know is every time that you do a set, I don't want to say a strenuous set, but every time a set that's somewhat challenging. So 65% at 12 reps is challenging. Every time you perform a set, the amount of time that you rest in between matters, not just for muscle fatigue, but for energy production. So if I rest a minute in between a set, then I've only restored, or my body's only restored, about 75% of the energy that my muscles need to produce force. So that maximum effort lift that you could normally produce at 100% has been cut by 25%, because the energy that you require, or your muscles require, has been reduced by 25%. So the longer you rest, the more energy your muscles will have, because it'll be replenished from the energy stores that your body has. So knowing that, once I get to the 315 mark, my rest period is typically around 3 minutes apart. So from 225 to 315, I typically rest about 3 minutes, because at 3 minutes my body has recovered from any type of fatigue, and also, like I said, those energy stores have been replenished. So 315, I'm not doing 8 reps anymore. 315, I could probably pump out anywhere from 15 to 20 reps, but I'm only going to do 5. That way I'm not taking away from my energy stores, and I'm not fatiguing my muscles any more than what they need to be, because I'm still warming up for my maximum effort lift. I'm not trying to see how many times I'm doing 315. I'm still warming up. So 315 for me, I set a 5, and I'm good to go. I'm taking a break for at least 3 minutes. At least 3 minutes to allow those energy stores to replenish. From there, I'm moving on to 365. That day, 365 felt a little bit heavier than what I thought it was going to be. But for 365, now we're getting into those 1 rep ranges, because 365 is around 80 to 85% of my 1 rep max. Once you get to that 80% threshold, you're really only doing 1 rep. 1 rep. And you're making sure that it's a good rep. So perform one rep around 80%, which for me was 365. Knock out 365, and I load up the big 4 plates. At this point, instead of 3 minutes, I'm resting 5 minutes because I am around 90% of my maximum effort lift, and I really want to make sure I have no muscle fatigue and I don't have any that my energy stores have been completely replenished. So 405 was surprisingly light, surprisingly lighter than what I thought it was going to be. I imagined it was going to be heavier because I didn't take a week off before performing this maximum effort lift. I had just bench pressed heavy a few days before this, like 3 days before this, so I didn't expect that 405 would be as light as it was. So, like I said, this is around 90%. I've rested 5 minutes. Press 405 relatively easy, and because I'm an idiot, I decided to go ahead to 455, which has been around 95 to 100% of my current max. I say 95 to 100% because in the competition of like 2 months ago, I benched 455, and I'm not going to say I blew past it, but it wasn't that hard. And then right after 455, I loaded 475 up and failed. So, like an idiot, went from 405 to 455. That's a pretty big jump. What I would suggest doing is once you get to that 90% area, I mean, you can go up in 5% increments from what your previous max was. That's what I would do. So instead of me doing 5%, I jumped a whole 10% and went straight from 90 to 100, 405 to 455. And it was tough. It was tough, but at the same time I was surprised I was able to get it because, like I said, a few days before I had trained heavy on chest. So I loaded up 455. As you see, the guy that was watching me was surprised that I was able to get it. And I was just as surprised as he was because I have not I didn't think I would be able to get 455 without being rested, not taking that week off for rest. But yeah, got 455 and then progressed on to something that I haven't ever done before, which was 465. Instead of going for 475, I said I would settle for 465. And unfortunately, 465 whipped me. It barely came off of my chest. I was still surprised I got 455 in the first place. So I'm thinking right now, my current max is, if I rested a week, would be around 465, 475. I think that if I rested a week, I could press 475. When it comes to 1 rep maxing, or when you're performing a maximum effort lift, if you rest a week before, then that's great. That's what you should be doing. Every 4 to 8 weeks, I like to take a week off from training anyway to give my body time to rest. I'm training 4 to 5 days out of the week. In my opinion, at the age of 34, 3 days of rest or 2 days of rest is not efficient. Not efficient in between. It's not enough, simply because at 34, your body doesn't heal nowhere near or recover anywhere near as fast as when you were 21, 23, 25. So 4 to 8 weeks, I take a week off, and that's when I usually perform my maximum effort lift. Every 4 weeks, I like to perform a maximum effort lift, whether I rest or not, or rest a week or not, simply because I want to see how the programming, or if my current program is working. But like I said, every 8 weeks for certain, I'm taking a week off, and then I'm performing a maximum effort lift, whether it be on bench press, squat, or deadlift. So I hope this video helps you guys out when it comes to performing the maximum effort lift on bench press. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe for further content. Until next time, Strong Bear Fitness.